And we are recording. Okay, first of all, thank you to everyone who is watching this second part of the Dark and Terrible campaign. Just as a small recap, the adventurers have been tasked with locating Duke Uther in order to secure his alliance with Jarlsberg. They also want to locate Lothian the Sage because he is wise in the ways of wizardry and warfare. They want to get him on their side. And they are going to be helping people around, informing them that they come from Jarlsberg to spread the good reputation of their city. The adventurers have leveled up. In the case of Esben, he has raised his life points because he took that blow during that confrontation. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And in the case of Killian, he has obtained one extra point of his psychic powers. Maybe it's because of that contact with the eldritch entity, his mind evolved or something, who knows. Okay, before we begin, Crispy, what are your expectations for Esben during this game?
Well, I my expectations are that Esben is going to really enjoy getting out into a new place, being able to lay the charm on thick for the maidens of renowned beauty that live in Brickshire, and so he's excited for that. Of course, this is going to be a wonderful tale to share this with his close friend Killian as we do something of great importance for our ruler, and wouldn't mind getting some more florins. Really liked having some money in his pocket. He spent most of it. Doesn't have much left. Maybe eating the last little bit of his florins as he walks down the road towards Brickshire with Killian. That's his expectation.
Awesome. Okay, now Josh, what are your expectations for
I
Killian?
think Killian is still a little shaken from what happened in our last episode. And he's very curious. Maybe he's on the fence about some of his ideals somewhat now that he's contacted such a dark force. But I'm looking forward to interacting with the citizens and see what their opinion is of Yalsburg and see what we can kind of do there to change that if it is negative in some way.
Okay, okay. And so it begins. It has been 2 weeks since your adventure in the Hidden Valley. You have departed from Jarlsberg. It seems like ages. Although the trip has been uneventful, there is a certain strangeness to the environment. Before departing, Gregory, one of the aides of Counselor Heinrich, gave you two objects. To Killian, a flask of a mysterious liquid. This liquid is very difficult to obtain, but it will heal any sort of wound, be it cuts, bruises. It is a miraculous liquid, but it's only good for one dose. And to Esben, a compass was given. It is made of a strange greenish metallic alloy, and it is unaffected by any sort of force or magnetic field. It always points towards the north. You are currently traversing Ashwick River. It has been a long journey because the waters are somewhat treacherous. The rocks are always a threat, and the journey has been longer than usual because instead of cutting through land and getting attacked by many of the dark forces around the land, this mission prioritizes secrecy. Now, you are entering Brickshire. The skies are cloudy. Sometimes there have been light rains and drizzles, and Killian feels this strangeness at the back of his head. Something is not quite right. The animals, even the animals, do not seem cheerful as before. The waters have this strange rainbow hue or tone to them, as if some sort of substance has fallen upon the waters. There are brown looking leaves floating all over the place. It is quite normal for mid autumn. It is now Monday, and you finally station the barge next to the pier. The pier needs some maintenance. The wood looks like it's about to fall apart. The barge master Jacques approaches you and says, "Okay, laddies, it's time to disembark. I am going to unload some stuff and I want to get out of here as soon as possible."
What's the hurry, my good man? We've just arrived.
It is this place. There are rumors of people going insane. I don't like this place at all, sir.
Espen surveys the dismal landscape of Berkshire and says, "But doesn't look too bad. I mean, we've seen worse, haven't we, Killian? I mean, it could grow on you."
I'm hoping this will grow on us, but at the same time, I would keep your guard up, Esmond. I definitely have a very bad feeling. The whole area is giving me off an extremely negative vibe.
Agreed. Espen turns to the ferryman, passes him a florin. "For your discretion, sir, let's forget that we made this trip. Between you and I."
Thank you, sir. I got you, sir. He starts to unload different sacks and boxes.
Sven, Luca, come, let's help as much as we can. Continue to just reach in and help him offload as much as I can hold.
Matthias, go wake up Nico. We're leaving.
As you start to help the barge master with the boxes and the sacks, and you step onto the hamlet of Compton, as Jax had informed you before, now you see a scene of absolute misery and sadness. Almost all of the structures, the cabins, the houses, they are a complete wreck. Some of them do not even have roofs. Some of them have walls and doors missing. There's mud and feces everywhere, even human feces. There are only a few people walking through the place every now and then. There are dead animals, but worst of all, just 10 feet in front of you, therein lies a corpse of a young child, perhaps of 7 years old. The strange thing about this corpse is that it looks as if the flesh has started to turn into some sort of goo. The exposed parts of the corpse's flesh are covered in boils and warts. Everywhere there is mud, and it seems like it has rained recently. To the northwest from where you are standing, there is a cabin that looks somewhat luxurious compared to the other structures here. And to the northeast, you can see that there is this corral type of structure. It is composed of a wooden roof supported by vertical wooden beams. Underneath that roof, there are a few wooden boxes, most of them open, some of them locked with simple locks. They probably are lockers. And underneath that roof, there are two burly men. They seem to be standing guard, each one armed with a short sword at their belt.
Killian, what do you make of this? Espen takes out a rather frilly-looking handkerchief and holds it over his mouth. It's a foul place, some sickness. What do you think?
I'm slightly confused at the moment. I thought we were here to gain their aid in battle. It doesn't look like perhaps they can even aid themselves. This place is full of sickness and death.
Agreed.
But one thing is for sure, we can definitely do a lot of good here, my friend.
Well, there's a lot of work to do. Let's get to it. Espen motions for Matthias and and Nico to follow. They're carrying backpacks, each of them. He walks over to the corpse of the small child, holding the handkerchief over his mouth. Just inspects, looks closely at the body to try to ascertain. It's about how old do I think this child would be? What do you think? I would say maybe 7. Killian, your view?
He looks to be of that age. Poor boy.
What a tragedy.
Sven, Luca, say a prayer for him. I'm going to gaze to the northwest where the different structure lies and observe how far it is from us at this point.
I follow Killian's eyes to the north. Well, that house looks different. Looks much nicer than the rest of these. I motion to one of the few people on the road. Excuse me. We've just arrived. Could you tell me who lives up there?
A black-haired woman approaches you. She is dressed in rags. She has a nice-looking figure and face, but she is constantly coughing. Hello, sir. That's the office of Squire Kent. He oversees this place, but let's forget about that. Are you interested in company for the night?
Maybe later. I'll bow generously, pretending not to see her threadbare rags. Treat her kindly, but keep my distance, and still surreptitiously hold the handkerchief, the frilly handkerchief, over my nose. Perhaps later, ma'am. Perhaps later. Killian, let's get off the streets.
She walks away with a disappointed look to her face.
If this Squire Kent is overseeing everything, perhaps that should be our first visit, my friend.
I agree. Let's go check it out. He doesn't seem to be keeping a good handle on the... I whisper at a lower tone so as my potential companion for this evening doesn't hear. This place is going very poorly. We should go see. What is he doing?
Sven, Luca, grab the bags. Let's find out more about this brick shower.
Let's move it at speed to that nicer house, the Squire's house.
Yes, everyone to the cabin. I proceed in a
It is just about 30 feet away. It's a short walk. And you immediately notice the difference. It has been well maintained, but it's locked. The door is completely locked. And the window that lies at the front of the house reveals that apparently there is no one inside.
It's empty. It's odd. Killian, I see that there's a couple guarding some lockers down there. Perhaps they could have some more information for us. Let's. What do you say we head down there and talk to them?
Agreed.
Before you move, you notice something. Just north from that nice-looking cabin, Squire Kent's office, you see what looks to be a tavern, a small tavern from the looks of it. And you see this sign at the top. It reads, "The Always Better Tavern." At the top of the tavern, in the roof, there seems to be some man fixing the roof, a black-haired man, and he seems to be mumbling something.
A tavern? I wouldn't mind wetting the whistle. How about you, Killian? Are you thirsty?
Yeah, perhaps we can go grab a drink and see if we can find out information about these characters guarding before we interact with them.
Yeah, true. I see someone working on the roof. Call up to the person on the roof. Good sir, how goes it?
He suddenly looks at you and he says with a almost disconnected voice, "Good day, sir. I am just fixing the roof." And he starts to mumble. "Everyone goes blind eventually. Nobody knows why. Not Odin, not Thor, not Loki. Everyone goes blind." And he keeps on mumbling.
Killian, I'm not sure Heights will agree with that, gentleman. He's mumbling to himself some kind of nonsense. Are you picking? Does that make any sense to you? I'm sorry, I'm at a bit of a loss.
I'm hoping it's just mindless nonsense. Let's proceed in and see what we can find here in the tavern.
Well, I hope they're not serving some kind of alcohol that'll cause us to lose our sight. He said something about going blind. Matthias, you might want to keep that wine flask just in case we need to water some things down. Let's keep that wineskin handy.
As you enter the tavern, you see that the establishment has seen much better days. There are only a few wooden tables and stools and chairs, and most of them look like they are about to break apart. But you see this somewhat robust, a bit overweight man, blonde, blue eyed, and he greets you with a big smile. "Welcome, sirs. You're not from around here. Hey, please have a seat. Son, please bring them a couple of the good seats over here."
Espen will puff out his chest a little bit, say, and greet the man as warmly as he can. "Good sir, we've heard tell of your good tavern here, and your legendary hospitality." Espen lays it on thick, extending his hand to shake the proprietor's fist.
"Really, sir? Thank you, thank you. I didn't know my establishment was famous. Well, actually, we are about to change the name to the Sometimes Tavern because, well, call me a superstitious man, but we haven't been getting too many clients lately. But yes, please sit down for a florin ahead. I can give you ale and bread, the finest in this hamlet."
Well, that sounds like a great deal for me. With a reaching into his pouch that is surprisingly empty, Espen pulls out one florin, looks at it longingly, and then flips it in the air to the waiting tavern keeper. "Please, around for my good companions here, please."
The tavern master takes it with a smile, gives some instructions to his son, and after motioning you to sit down, he goes to the back.
Killian, I wouldn't trust any beverage that this man brings. We may want to just nurse these things along for a while so that we don't get sick. But perhaps a little bit of gold will loosen his tongue and we can make some introductions.
Yes, I definitely think caution is the way to go in this town, but I'll be sipping from my own flask, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I shall slide
A few
out a
moments
chair
later,
and sit down.
the tavern master returns with some bread that doesn't look very healthy or very delicious. He also brings different, like half-broken cups. He hands them to each one of you, and he just stands there smiling and tells you, "Where are you from, sirs?"
We are from the peaceful town of Jarlsberg. Wonderful city.
We are from Jarlsberg, like my companion says, but we're excited to be here in Brickshire and hope to make a difference here. And this spread that you've laid out for us is impressive. You made the bread yourself, I take it, or do you have a baker in town? Tell me more about this town.
"Ah, yes. My wife baked this bread herself. It is the finest bread in the land."
Well, please give her our compliments. Is she around? Perhaps we could make her acquaintance as well. He
Oh,
flashes his big smile.
she's back at home. She's not around, sir.
Ah, and that must be your son that's been serving us.
Yes, come here, laddie. You see a blonde young boy coming, probably around 10 years old. Yes, this is my son. He's Godric. Godric, why don't you tell the man what you think about what you heard about Jarlsberg? Yes, Papa, Jarlsberg is that huge city in the east. I want to go there when I grow up. Oh, listen to the little guy. He wants to go to Jarlsberg. I hear that things are much better there. Is that true, sir?
Espen will pat the little gaffer on the head. So you would fit in right well with Jarlsberg. We'd love to have you.
Did you perhaps? Are you looking for? Have you been told that our Duke is no longer a Duke?
No, we're not quite up on current events in Brickshire. Killian, have you heard anything of the sort?
I haven't. We were actually just traveling through the area and went to stop in and just become friends with the locals.
Yeah, please go on. Tell
It
us
is
what
a
happened.
sad story, sirs.
What happened to him?
Once Duke Uther has lost so much control of the land, and now he is a baron. He is not recognized as a duke anymore. He still has a force in his garrison, but he has lost so much influence and power.
How did this happen?
Well, it is strange, sir. I've never been to his court, but they say that he's not in his right mind. He seems to be in a sort of daze, so they say. But
That
please
sounds
don't
good.
tell anyone I said this, sir. I'm just a simple tavern
Oh,
owner.
I'll ruffle his. This is the. I'll ruffle the little gaffer's head, his hair again. Oh, hey, we're just having a friendly conversation. It stays between us. Killian, there was a name of someone else that we were looking for. Someone of some renown. Perhaps you've heard of them. A sage, a man of letters.
You mean Lothian,
Look,
sir?
yeah. Yes.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Oh, he is a warlock, sir. You need to be careful. He has strange powers.
Is he a local here?
He lives in this very hamlet. Just to the far east, you will see his tower. It is a half finished tower. He spends weeks, sometimes months inside that place. I usually don't approach that place, sir. It gives me the shivers.
Well, that's odd. We were told he was quite knowledgeable and might be of some assistance. I break a piece of the bread apart, trying to avoid the moldy bits, but I don't put it in my mouth. I turn to, or Espen turns and says, "We passed a nice house just down the road here, squire that lives there, but he didn't seem to be home. Whereabouts
You
is?"
mean the office of Squire Kent?
Oh, yes,
Yes, he.
yes.
Well, I don't know what to think about him, sir. When he was first appointed, he was, I would say, a decent fellow. But as time went by, he doesn't seem to care about things anymore.
Hmm. Well, we shouldn't keep monopolize your time, good sir. You have others preparations to make, and you've provided ample beverage and food. We appreciate your hospitality. My companions and I will visit for a little while, and then we'll take our leave. spread the good word about what was the name you said you. I kind of like Always Better Tavern, and the Sometimes Better Tavern doesn't really have a ring to it, in my humble opinion. But of course, defer to your wisdom.
Espen, I'd have
I
to
will
say this
consider it,
tavern.
sir, and thank you for visiting.
Yes, this tavern rivals the
The
ones in
tavern
our
owner
town.
walks away.
As he walks away, Espen will turn to Killian and the rest of our hirelings and say, uh, let's just quietly leave. I wouldn't recommend eating any of this. This bread looks highly suspect. It's probably made from contaminated rye. It'll give you hallucinations. We should probably not eat it.
What do you think? Warlock?
It's
Sounds
odd.
very strange.
It does seem strange. This seems more of your domain, my friend, than mine. I'm a little concerned. The Duke's not a Duke anymore. You think that we would know this? Does this mean that we still have to deliver our letter? We have that letter that sealed in wax we were supposed to deliver by hand to Duke Ulthar. The fact that he's a baron, does that matter? Odd that he's lost control. It seems to be in the same kind of gloom that we see all around here.
As we walk out to the front of the tavern, I continue to discuss with Esben. Well, at this point, is our mission as important as it was? I don't.
It's a good question. I suspect that little is to be gained by abandoning it now. We should at least make an attempt, in my opinion, to deliver this letter. It doesn't sound like the Baron, Duke, what have you, is taking audiences. We now know where, thanks to the good tavern keeper, where the sage is. Well,
You
we
are
could
suddenly
stop by
interrupted. You
there.
hear, they are always watching you. And you turn to look, and the man fixing the roof was looking directly at you, and then his eyes, they go blank, and he keeps on working.
I'm startled that someone has interrupted our conversation. Whoa! Well, it's. I understand cleaning the eaves, sir, but eavesdropping is quite impolite.
Suddenly, he seems to be to awaken from sort of sleep or stupor, and he turns to look at you. Oh, did you say something, sir?
Yes, I inquired as to why you're mumbling to yourself. Please explain yourself to me. Do you have some kind of sickness or madness?
I'm sorry. I've always been this way. I don't know why. The locals tolerate me. I don't know why, sir.
Well, be careful up there. I'd hate to have you fall. Looks awfully slippery.
Thank you, sir.
I kind of tilt my head to him, and well, as I was saying, Killian, the tower. What do you say?
I think if anyone truly knows what's happening here, Aurora would probably be the one.
It's odd to me that they would leave the bodies of diseased children dead on the street. There's something very wrong. It makes me sick to my stomach. The dereliction of duty that this Squire Kent or whatever it is that's supposed to be seeing to the dailiness of living, complete disregard. I tell you, the sooner Jarlsberg can whip this place into shape, the better.
Yeah, I'm not confident if we were to even speak with Kent, he would tell us what we really need to know at this point.
Oh, you're probably right. On to the tower then.
As you start to make your way eastwards, you notice a better looking tavern. It has a strange image on its signpost. There is a rabbit with a folded ear, and it reads, "The Rabbit Ear Inn." By the looks of it and by the sounds of it, it seems to be a tavern and inn.
Well, we will need a place to stay. Looks like that place has rooms. It's a little less suspect as the Always Better Tavern.
Agreed. And the more people we meet here, perhaps this mystery will unravel itself.
Uh, Espen takes a moment to survey the surroundings, trying to gauge the distance between the inn and the tower that we're heading to in the east.
The tower is pretty close, about 60 feet ahead,
Oh,
but you suddenly hear some rustling behind the Rabbit Ear Inn. It sounds as if someone is rummaging through the garbage.
Matthias, go and see what's over there. Some urchin searching through the garbage? Quick, go see who it is. Killian, let's just wait. Matthias will bring him back.
We'll give him a moment.
Matthias comes back, handling in a very gentle way young 13-year-old girl. She looks so dirty. Her clothes are completely tattered, ruined. She barely has shoes. They're probably cowhide sandals, but they are all torn apart. And she looks at you with somewhat scared eyes.
Espen will crouch down to be at the same height as her and take out that frilly handkerchief he was using to cover his mouth before. And with it, he'll proffer it to the young maiden. Miss, we mean you no harm. Please, why are you? You seem to be in very dire straits. Please tell me your name.
My name is Anna, sir. I'm a little hungry.
Nico, some food from your pack, please, quick. Matthias, give me one of those blankets. I'll take the blanket from Matthias and drape it over her shoulders, and Nico can give her the rations or one of the rations from his pack.
The girl appears to be in shock. She looks at you, shocked, and she says, "Thank you, sir. If you don't mind, I will keep it for later because I have a family."
No, it's yours. It's yours. Please take it. A gift from us. We've just arrived from Jarlsberg.
Jarlsberg. Ah, Lothian mentioned that place once.
He did.
You know Lothian?
You work for Lothian.
I sometimes clean his tower. I'm not very good at it, but I do my best, and he actually he owes me money, sir.
Espen turns to Killian, kind of raises an eyebrow.
Very interesting.
Anna, you said you had a family. Whereabouts are they? Are they living here?
No, they live outside in one of the farms, sir. There are abandoned farms all over this region.
Why is it that there's people just lying dead in the street here, Anna?
Don't get close to the corpses, sir. It could be contagious.
And if you work for Lothian, why are you searching through the garbage for something to eat?
I haven't seen him in a week or so, sir.
Normally you work for him each week, I take it, Anna?
Yes, and I try to steer away from the place because they say it is haunted. Oh, here's a nice little trick, sir. There is this small crack in the wooden door in the tower. You can look through it, and if Lothian is in the tower, he sometimes lowers this small metal bar to keep it locked.
So if it's locked, then Anna, then he's in the tower?
Definitely, sir.
Okay. But you say he hasn't been there, so it's not locked. Presumably, since you were last there.
That's the strange thing, sir. Sometimes he spends so much time in there, but last time I checked, it was locked, sir. Normally, That was the time he was supposed to greet me so that I could clean his room, but I knocked on the door and he wouldn't open.
Anna, how many do you have in your family that you're trying to gather food for?
We are four in total, sir.
Uh, Espen looks up at
No, five.
Nico.
No, three. No, four. Sorry, sir. I have trouble counting. We are four, sir.
Name them.
My mother, Greta, and
Greta?
my father, Pete.
Oh, that's good enough. That's good enough, Anna. Nico, I motion for Nico to give the rest of that ration pack to her so she has food to return. And as I hand it, or as Nico hands the food to her, I'll pat her gently on the shoulder and say, Anna, you have friends in Jarlsberg who care about the common people like you. My friend here, his name is Killian. My name is Espen. And we're here. We're here to help. Thank you very much. Is there anything
Thank
else
you so
that
much,
you would
sir.
like to tell us about your sometimes employer? We'd like to speak to him if possible.
I actually think he's a nice man, but he still owes me money, sir.
When we speak to
Please,
him,
sir,
we
if
may
you
bring it up.
talk with him, tell him to pay me back.
Espen turns to Killian and just looks inquiringly. Do you have anything to ask this young maid before we send her on the way and off these streets?
Do you have any friends that would also be in need? Poor girl. Other families near your farm?
And no, sir. If you ask me, sir, it looks like as if people are frightened. They are. It's like no one trusts anyone anymore.
Well, you can trust us. Now that we're here, maybe that'll be all the difference we need to turn this place around, right? Let's get a smile on that face. He uses his gloved hand to kind of wipe away a grimy cheek. Says, "Now, run along now. If it gets too dark, you don't want to be out here by yourself. There's people less honorable than Killian and myself about. Take your food, quick."
Thank you, sir. Thank you. She runs along.
Killian, the situation is very puzzling.
I'm very troubled. It seems like everything we were sent here is almost for naught at this point. But let's continue to delve further into this mystery.
Yeah.
Luca, Sven, let's check out this tavern.
Nico, maybe check and see how much food we have left. We might have to make it stretch a little bit if I keep giving it away. Matthias, come on. I mean, what are we going to do? Have the girl go hungry? Come on. Don't be like that. Give me that look. Let's go.
Through one of the windows of the tavern, you spot that there are more people inside when compared to the other tavern. There are approximately 5 patrons. Most of them look like they came from somewhere else, but there is a particular man that you notice because of his violent demeanor. He looks like, if you were to say that a human looks like a wild hog or some sort of giant pig, he would be it. He's dressed in chainmail and he's eating some sort of fish, but he eats it with such ravenous appetite. It almost looks like he's elbowing and punching people while he eats. He has a very violent attitude to him.
Doesn't look like a local to me, Killian.
Not at all.
Being a swordsman myself, I can tell this person's a man of violence, without the refinement of yours truly, of course. If he's not local, then he's up to no good. Let's see if we can find something out. Matthias, Nico, we might have some action in here. When's the last time you had a good bar fight? Let's go. Espen strolls into the tavern, swings the door in with some flourish. Smells great in here. A table, please, for me and my companions.
A plump-looking barmaid approaches you. Right away, sir. She looks somewhat attractive, but she seems to be also distressed in some way. Her hair is disheveled, her clothes are covered in patches, and she leads you to a small table with a few wooden stools.
Espen lays it on thick as usual. Oh, why, thank you. A beautiful server as well. Look at our luck. So glad to have you greet us. What a fine maiden. Boy, you have a beautiful blush on your cheeks. He flashes his big $1 million game show host smile, trying to charm her off her feet. This looks like a wonderful table. Thank you so much. Miss, you've been most accommodating.
She looks smitten and she says, "Would you like something to drink, sir?"
Oh, please, what do you recommend?
"Well, just for you, sir, for a single florin, I can fill the cups for all of you."
Ah, well, of course. My good companion, it's his turn. Please, Killian, cough up the florin, please, for the good lady.
Absolutely. Nothing but the best from Jarlsberg. I hand her 2 florin.
Espen whispers, thank you, I'm running a little light.
She is completely smitten. She walks away with a wink, and shortly she returns with several cups full with what seems to be meat, average looking meat. "If you need anything, sir, please just wave your hand." And she walks away.
Espen will reach out to her as she's walking away to just grab the hem of her skirt to hold her there for just a moment. And he'll lean in conspiratorially. You could do something for me. I'd like to send a drink over to that rough-looking man over there, that table, but I don't know his name. Perhaps you could tell me a little bit about him. As he does that, he'll just gently put his hand on her forearm, just a little bit of touch. He's just a little bit of touch here and there as he's trying to maintain this charm for the rather plump barmaid.
"Oh, sir, he's my boyfriend. You shouldn't be sending him things. He has a bit of a rough temper. He can get a bit violent, sir, if you know what I mean."
Of course, I mean no, I cause you no harm, and maybe it's best to just hold that drink then. Thank you. Your boyfriend, I wouldn't have put it that way. Well, you never know. His name again? He doesn't look like he's from around here.
"He's Sloan. He came about a month ago, sir, and he has a soft heart, such a soft heart underneath that rough exterior. But if you get into his wrong side, he will kill you, sir. He has killed many people.
Oh,
He is the second in command of Squire Kent."
the same Squire Kent that's leaving the bodies of children on the street.
"What's that, sir?"
Nothing. Just an idle observation. Thank you so much. You've been most accommodating.
"Okay, bye-bye." She walks away.
Seems to me that this Sloan character over there, I say, mutter under my breath to Killian, is more interested in just murder than the actual policing of this place. A true brigand.
At least now we know possibly how to find Kent if we need to.
The look of that guy, we'll probably find Kent in the river.
It's quite possible, depending on how well. Where are they getting their funds from?
Yeah, this
Super
meat
very
isn't so
strange.
bad. It takes a swift of this meat. It's not bad. I mean, I've had worse.
It tastes regular.
Mm-hmm. For this place, this is probably pretty good.
Seems like every town you go to, you still have the same luck with women, my friend.
Hey, we've had plenty of adventures, you and I. I'm not the only one that goes home with nice, pleasant company.
Suddenly, you hear a loud bang, and you see that this man, Sloan, gets up like he's finished eating and he just wants to get up with a violent temper and storms out of the tavern.
Hmm. Espen keeps a close eye on the other patrons to see if they react, how they react, shocked or with uh, a degree of casual indifference. We'll say.
They seem to be slightly scared. Some of them, like, they hunch up a bit.
Yeah, nature calls. Guess he had to go relieve himself very quickly.
A couple of men hear you and they laugh a bit, but then they become a bit serious again.
We need to, while Sloan is off relieving himself or whatever such a brute would do, perhaps we should talk to the rest of the people here, get some more information. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Nico, Matthias, go see what you can find out. I'm going to work a little more on our serving girl. I think there's more that she's not telling us.
I'll peer around and see if I can see who the owner of the establishment may be, if he's actually present.
Your hirelings return, and they have gathered that there seems to be some sort of problem or fight between Sloan and Squire Kent.
Mm.
A patron informs Killian that Therin is the owner of this establishment, but he must be at the back. Currently, things are being entertained. The people are being entertained and served by the three barmaids, Ora, Suniva, and Yola.
Espen will call over one of the other barmaids and with a charming smile, compliment her, lavish all sorts of compliments on them, and say, just express. I'm surprised that Sloane's with. I'm sorry, I've forgotten her name, but
Oh, you mean Ora?
yes, I'm surprised. She seems like such a sweet girl, and he seems a little uncouth, not cultured, perhaps a little rough. What can you tell me about him? It's an odd
Well,
relationship, isn't it?
I've always suspected, sir, that it's because of the power of that man. He has his way around with anyone in town. He has killed people because they were seeking shelter for the night. There are a lot of poor people here, sir, and they took shelter and they were under one of the ruined buildings, and he beat the man to death with his club.
Mm. Then the squire, what was his response to this offense?
He doesn't take action, sir, but it could be just me, but I feel that Squire Kent seems to be holding back.
Mm. Where can I find Squire Kent? I'd like to just ask him a couple questions. You just so I understand. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. We're new here. We're from
At,
Jarlsberg, and we're here to help.
at this time, he should be. Suddenly, a man enters the room. He has this like honey haired hair. He has brown eyes. His eyes look almost dead, jaded, as if he has seen just too much. He approaches one of the barmaids And he asks, "Was Sloan here?" The barmaid nods. "Damn it!" And he starts to leave the building. "That's
Excuse me,
him,
sir.
sir. That's him."
Uh, Squire Kent.
He turns around.
I'll offer my hand. My name's Espen Ludger. We've um, we've been sent here, and my companions over there. You can see there's Killian Foss is his name, and with him is Luca and Sven. There is Nico and Matthias over there, trying his best not to spill his mead. They're with us. We've just come in here, and we, frankly, sir, it looks like you might need our help. What's going on with this Sloan fellow? He looked at the verge of murdering everyone in this room without cause.
Sloan, he's a very capable man. He's a trustworthy man.
If you say so, good sir. How he's been in your employ for about a month, I take it.
Yes, that is correct. Now, I want to know, what is your business in this place?
We're here to help. We're here to help however we can. We're from Jarlsberg.
Jarlsberg. Have you heard about former Duke, now Baron Uther?
The news, we just learned of it. It's frankly a little shocking to us.
Yes, it's such a shame. Well, if I find anything that needs solving, I will let you know. Now, I'll be on my way, if you excuse me. He starts to walk away.
Espen turns to Killian with his eyebrows raised.
At this point, I think we just need to try to find Uther.
Agreed.
I turned to the barmaid that was with us at the table and asked her, how would we arrange for accommodations for myself and my fellow companions for the evening?
At the moment, we are booked, sir.
Come on.
Well, maybe I can. I know, sir. Well, it's going to cost you 4 florins, but I could sneak you into one of the back rooms. There's enough space for all of you.
All right. Well, thank you. That's very kind. Killian, Nico, 2 florins, please, quick.
I pull out 2 florins as well and slide over there to Esben.
I'll place them in her hand and then hold her hand for just a moment too long, smiling at her, and then let go.
She walks away with a giggle. I will make preparations, sir.
I take a quick glance out the window to see if it's getting dark yet.
It should be about 6 p.m.
Still early enough, I see as you look out the window.
Yeah, we still have daylight to burn. Should we step over to the tower? It's close enough.
Agreed. Let's do it. Matthias, Nico, let's go.
Come on, friends. I get up and walk out the front, marching towards the tower.
As Espen marches towards the tower, he keeps an eye to the south, looking to see if the squire is returned to the much better maintained cabin when he left the Rabbit Ear Inn.
Neither Sloan nor Squire Kent are visible anywhere. But as you are making your way to the tower, you notice that there are a few buildings to the side. You will need to inspect them closely to understand the purpose of such buildings. But you are now standing before the tower. And as described by Anna, it is locked.
I'll make a show to walk up to the tower door and put my hand on the knocker on the door and knock 3 times. And I'll step back. Killian, you see any movement?
continue to keep watch and gaze around the outside of the tower.
No one seems to answer, but you notice the crack that the girl mentioned, and you can see that there is a metal bar, a small metal bar on the other side. So this means the door is locked.
Espen looks around, looks to Killian. I see the metal bar. With my small knife, I might be able to lift it, but breaking and entering, even in a place as lawless as this, might bring some unwanted attention.
My
You have
thoughts
to keep an eye
exactly.
out. Making a glance to the left and right, Espen moves to the crack in the door, takes out his throwing knife, and with the thin blade tries to lift the bar.
As much as you try it, you simply cannot get it dislodged from whatever place it is attached to. It is very difficult.
The knife goes back into my inner pocket. Well, he's not home, or if he's home, he's not taking visitors still. Perhaps we should walk around. Maybe there's another way. Back entrance?
It's a good idea. Worst case scenario, we'll find out a little bit more either way.
Matthias, why don't you stay here just in case he's got a lot of stairs to walk down and he just comes down a little slowly. Keep knocking at the door though. It would be good if we could wake him up.
As you walk around the tower, you notice that it is at the very end of the east side of this hamlet. And you notice that near the top, close to the roof, it is a conical roof, but close to it, there is a huge hole. It is truly an unfinished tower. This hole is so big, you could easily fit 2 horses through it. And the stones of the tower have gaps between them. They look suspiciously, they could serve as handholds.
I look at Killian and look at the put my hand on one of the cracks in the tower, kind of test it a little bit just to see if it gives immediately. You up
It
for a
seems
climb?
firm.
After you, my friend.
Nico, pass me that rope. Oh wait, Nico gets the bundle of rope from his backpack. I tie it around my waist and start climbing up the tower towards the opening.
The climb is very easy to do because of the openings, the unintentional handholds. And you are now standing at the very top. You can see inside of the tower. It is almost barren. It is composed of 3 floors. Each one of those floors has unfinished sections on the floor. There are huge gaps. And you can see the lower floor, although you will need to go down to that floor to obtain more details. But from this distance, you can see that there are some shelves, some books, and what seems to be an old bed at the bottom.
Before calling out, Espen unties the rope around his waist, ties it to something heavy in the room, and then tosses tests it so that it doesn't let go, so that others can easily climb up the rope if they need to. Then, that accomplished, he will call out, Sage Luthien, I beg your pardon, sir, to interrupt you. Hello, are you home? We have urgent business.
No one seems to answer. And luckily, there was this strange gargoyle head protruding from the wall, and it serves as the perfect place to tie up the rope. But no one answers.
I call back down. Killian, seems like he's gone. He's not here. But there's a bunch of books and stuff. Do you want to come take a look?
Yes, good thoughts, my friend. I start to proceed to climb the rope cautiously.
You get to the top, and for a moment, just for a moment, Killian senses some sort of psychic disturbance, an alien feeling similar to that which he experienced in that temple in the Lost Valley.
Something doesn't feel right.
What do you mean something doesn't feel right? My hand goes to the hilt of my sword. Like that slug thing? That thing that killed us, that we shouldn't even be alive? That one?
Very similar, yes.
Espen
Let's-
curses.
I look around the room we're in to get a better idea of exactly.
This is the third floor. It is almost empty except for two other gargoyle heads protruding from the walls. There are stone steps leading towards the second floor and to the first floor. And as mentioned before, there are gaps between the floors.
I just cautiously walk around the room, taking my time, allowing my hand to kind of drape across the gargoyles' heads, the walls, and really absorbing the room that we're in.
Espen keeps a close eye on Killian, looking for signs that something has bothered him. His hand stays on the hilt of his sword.
Now that you have a better appraisal of the room, you can see the diameter of the tower is about 40 feet. And Killian starts to get these images of a bald man with a large beard holding his head as if he is in some sort of shock or perhaps sadness, and the vision disappears.
Espen, someone may be here. I sense
see anybody.
sadness. Let's go further into this tower.
I look frantically around. I can't see anything. It's too dark in here. Nico, pass me that torch. I light the torch and then cautiously exit this, looking down to the second floor for movement anywhere. I call out again. Sage Lothian, we are friends. We are friends here from Jarlsberg. Urgent business and all that. We make my way slowly down to the second level.
The second level is completely empty. There are only a couple of rats that scurry away the moment they see you. There aren't even embellishments, no gargoyle heads, no sculpture, no statue. It is completely empty. But wait, you notice a strange circle in the middle of this second floor. It is traced with a bluish pigmentation of sorts.
I stand outside of the circle, holding the torch up high above my head. Killian, there's strange writing on the floor here. I don't know what to make of it.
I lean in even closer, looking down at the pigment.
Killian suddenly obtains this rush of images once again. He witnesses an old man, the same bald old man with a long beard. He's standing at the center of the circle and he's saying, "Where is she? She is supposed to be my successor. Where is she?" And the vision fades away.
My friend, something's definitely wrong, but I focus in on the actual shape of the circle and try to memorize the pattern, thinking back to see if I've ever seen it before in any of my travels.
It is beyond your area of expertise. This is the workings of a sorcerer, not a psionic user.
I'm not sure, my friend. Perhaps we should continue looking further. There
Do
isn't
we
but one
leave
more
this?
floor.
Do we leave this here? Boy, I tell you, this all makes me very uneasy. I'd much rather face that ruffian in the street than these strange writings on stone. And when he finishes saying that, Espen kicks with his boot over the writings, trying to scatter them with his shoe.
Nothing seems to happen.
I agree. Let's move on.
I'll follow you.
I continue down the stairs, again calling out, Sage Lothian, we are not here to steal from you, good sir, please.
No one answers, and you now have a complete view of the ground floor, the first floor, save for a couple of bookshelves with books with titles such as Natural History, The History of Kings. There is a simple bed and a chest that is open and completely empty.
Someone's been here. Someone's beat us to it.
Do you think he decided to leave town after all this despair?
Or something's happened. Maybe it's foul play. There's nothing left here. There's certainly not enough to pay the poor cleaning girl her owed wages. No, there's something wrong. Very wrong.
If you would examine the chest, I want to look at some of these books a little closer. I proceed to go over to the books and kind of thumb through a few.
I move over to the chest, and then with I take out my knife, my small knife, and start tapping the chest bottom to see if there's a false bottom or something like that.
When it comes to the books, they are extremely average. They are the typical material you would find in the laboratory or abode of any man of learning. But Esben notices that there is a false section to this chest at the very bottom.
Killian, come over here. I found something.
What is it?
It looks like there's a false bottom on this chest.
I rush over, looking over his shoulder. Can you open it? What?
Oh, it shouldn't be too hard. Let me just fit the blade of my knife in here and try to pry it open.
You open it easily, and there are only 5 florins in there.
Well, I know a certain young maiden who's owed some money from this wizard. I scoop up the 5 florins into my hand.
Well, one more good deed.
But where is he?
Not only is he's not here, but everything's pretty much gone. All these books are practically worthless. I feel like maybe he did leave.
Nico, go check under the bed. I'm going to go let Matthias in from the front door. I can still hear him banging on the door.
Nico found something. There is an empty bottle of glass.
What is it? Yeah, Nico, hand it over here. I look at the bottle of glass for any label or marking.
There is nothing, but it smells somewhat strange. It smells of seafood.
Passing it to Killian. Not sure what to make of this.
I examine the bottle closely just to see if there's any markings in the light. Not sure.
No markings whatsoever.
I notice that I'm holding a torch and pass it to Matthias. We better bring that with us. Maybe there's something, I don't know, a diviner perhaps could tell us what happened with this, but it's not my domain.
Quite possible. We should go back up, grab your rope, and I guess maybe call it an evening at this point.
You
agreed.
Suddenly hear disturbances outside. You hear something like, "No, please, sir, no, I was just..." Shut up, you know what's going to happen to you.
I sprint to the front door,
Sloan.
opening it.
Espen right behind you. Matthias and Nico coming up behind.
The moment you open the door, you see Sloan beating a man to death with his club.
That's quite enough.
Sloan turns around. Huh, what's it to you?
It depends. What was his crime that he deserves such cruel punishment?
One of my men saw him sleeping in one of the abandoned structures. That is forbidden.
Why?
Because I say so.
Espen crosses his arms.
So you're the law here, my friend.
Yes, I am the law.
Some law.
I walk up towards Sloan and the beaten man, kneeling before the man, putting my hand to his head, checking on him.
He's dead.
Since when is sleeping in an abandoned building a capital crime?
Since I run things here.
Perhaps it's time for you to retire. Espen's hand drops to the hilt of his sword.
Sloan charges at you with his club.
I swiftly move into a defensive position, cutting at his club arm as I spin away.
As he begins to charge past me, I focus all my mental energy, grabbing a hold of both of his ankles.
He is cut, he drops his club, and because of the hold upon his ankles, he falls head first and smashes his head against a rock on the floor. Suddenly, Squire Kent comes running. What have you done? He kneels close to Sloan, and you see him slightly pulling out a knife, and he stabs him in the neck. And he looks at you and he says, he is still alive, but you two have something to answer for. You and your men, come with me right now. You are all under arrest. And pick him up. Pick him up. What are you waiting for? Pick him up.
We've done nothing here.
I saw everything. Pick him up right now to my office.
Hey, I put my hand on Killian's arm. That's all right. Let's go. Maybe we'll finally get some answers in this godforsaken place. Matthias, Nico, just go back to the inn. We won't be too long.
I just look down and close the man's eyes. Peace be with you, friend. And stand and walk behind Espen, quietly murmuring.
As Squire Kent leads you towards his office on the west end of the hamlet, you notice that it's very strange for a man of the law to walk so confidently with criminals behind him, almost as if he is expecting you to follow him immediately.
I follow.
He opens the door, makes some gestures to a couple of guards. He motions you to step inside his office.
I follow his directions, step into his office, looking for a place to sit.
So this is Brickshire.
As you enter his office, you see that the furniture is definitely well maintained, much better looking than the rest of the other furniture in this hamlet. He motions you to sit down, and unceremoniously, almost by himself, he takes Sloan and drops him on the floor like a sack. And
Espen
he
lounges
puts
in the chair.
Some curtains on the windows. He sits on his desk and he looks at you seriously and says, "This is the chance I have been waiting for."
Is it now?
Espen leans back in the chair and crosses his legs slowly. We're happy to be of service. Now, perhaps you could tell us what's going on in this place.
Just as you said, about a month ago, this ruffian was put under my charge, but he was given more authority than mine. Every action that I took to thwart his crimes against these people, there was always someone in the way, some higher up. He has connections. He had connections. Now he is dead. But there are people that saw you fighting him. This is not good. We need to cover things up. Now I propose a plan. We are going to say that he is still alive and that you will be taken to the keep up north. Therein lies Baron Uther's keep. You will be taken there and you will be penalized for your actions. That is the official story. But we will make it so that somewhere along the way you will be attacked and Sloan will be killed during that attack. Now, Sloan has his men. They are probably marching. Yes, they are coming, I am sure of it. And they will accompany you. You will have to kill those men on the way. They are not to be trusted. I will send my nephew with you so that he provides support. But you must also help me with something, and suddenly you hear this knocking. Open up, Kent! Open up! Investigate the abandoned farms on the way to the keep. My nephew will indicate the place.
Espen drops the 5 florins on his desk. This is to go to Anna. And then he offers his wrists to be bound as prisoner. Be warned, squire. If you're double crossing us, we will return.
He almost like smirks as if he can't believe it, but he opens the door and a couple of burly looking guards step in. So, Kent, what can't you see? They knocked out Sloan. Now, you know nothing about medicine, so let me tend to him. You make sure that these men are properly secured. Have my nephew help you. Come on, go over there. And he motions you to follow the 2 men.
Without putting up a fight, Espen will go ahead. Killian, it's our best chance to get into the keep.
Agreed. Just keep our heads down for now.
Yep.
You see this other younger guard approaching. Squire Kent approaches him and says a few things to him. And he approaches you, the younger guard approaches you, and he says, "My name is Keegan, sirs. I know all about the plan. Just trust me on this."
It's a pleasure, Keegan. I'm Killian, and this is my comrade, Esben.
And we are not to be trifled with.
The young guard puts a stern face, and then you are secured and put into a wagon. It is going to be driven by 2 horses. Your henchmen come with you, and then Squire Kent mentions, "Now, is that all of you? Is that all of the members on your group?"
I don't recognize those 2. They're not with us. And those other ones, the priestly looking ones, do I look like a priest to you?
Fine then. Off you go. He looks to the other guards and, "You must take them to the keep, and they must answer for what they did to Sloan. Here, let me patch him up a bit, and we will load him to the wagon. Come, nephew." He motions to the nephew. They go inside the office, and after a while, they bring Sloan with them. He is almost completely covered in ropes. He has some sort of bandage on his neck, and he is loaded into the wagon next to you. "Go on then, to the keep then." And so you start to be transported towards the keep.
Espen tries to make a clandestine hand motion for Nico and Matthias to follow the wagon at a distance.
Luckily enough, the pace of the horses is not too fast, especially because the ground is somewhat muddy. Along the path during the journey, it has passed about 15 minutes have passed, and a light rain started to fall upon you. You're getting quite wet. This wagon has no roof. But suddenly, one of the two guards in front starts to look back and says to the other guard, "Say, do you think Sloan is still alive?" And the other guard, "Check up on him."
He's doing fine. He's just sleeping.
The
My
guard looks
friend
at
here
you.
knows more about healing than you'll ever, that he's forgotten more about healing than you'll ever know. Why don't you just drive this miserable wagon and play doctor? Come on. You and I both know the calluses on our hands aren't from being a medicine.
The other guard harums and keeps on driving the horses. But then the Squire Kent's nephew approaches you and hands you a small dagger. He hands one to Killian and whispers, "You better get ready."
No, we'll be ready. Remember what I told you, boy.
The nephew keeps on riding in his own horse. And suddenly, just 10 minutes passed, and the wagon stops. One of the guards steps down from the horse and says, "I need to take a good look at Sloan. You never know, just in case." He starts to move his hands. He starts to unwrap Sloan. He takes a close look.
Espen grabs one of the hands as he's trying to reach in, pulls him close to the bars of the wagon, and then with a dagger at his neck, he said, "That'll be quite enough of that. Tell your companion to get off that horse."
The other guard is completely paralyzed, and the guard that you have imprisoned is, "Come on, do as he says. You don't want me dead, do you?" The other guard steps down from the horse, and the nephew takes steps to be just behind the guard that has stepped down from the horse.
What is this? You smell like a murderer to me.
"Hey, I'm just trying to stay alive."
With the corner of his eye, Espen sees how close the other guard is to Killian. And when he's close, the dagger goes across the guard's neck, slits his neck, opening up his jugular, drops him, and prepares to turn on the other one.
The other guard immediately unsheaths his sword. He's a bit too slow, but he's ready to strike at you.
I leap from the wagon just to try to disarm the man, giving Esben a chance to attack.
As you attempt that, the other guard is surprisingly quick, and he elbows you in the face. You suffer 2 life points of damage.
Espen tosses the dagger up into his, catches it by its point, and then throws it as hard as he can at the face of the guard.
The guard dodges, but he was startled by the throw, and now he's almost on top of you.
Espen, seeing that he's unarmed, will close the distance as quick as he can, get inside his guard, and smash him in his chin with his forehead.
You knock him out completely. It was a solid blow, and he falls flat backwards.
I spit on his unconscious form. Looking at the nephew, I recover the drop sword of the guard and drive it into his heart.
The nephew nods in approval.
I recover from the wound, checking my nose.
Are you all right?
Oh, I'll be fine. It was worth it. Glad you drove that man through.
Well, I tell you, your leap from that wagon was something to behold. You
Thank-
constantly surprise me as I clean the bloody sword on the dead man's clothes before wrestling him into the wagon behind the dead form of Sloane.
I pat down all the guards and Sloane just to see if there's anything useful to take along with us.
Besides 2 long swords, you find 30 florins in total.
Mm,
That seems like a fair amount of wealth for these guys.
agreed.
What's your part in this now, nephew? Seeing as we've done all the hard work.
Now I will take the wagon back to Compton. If you keep on going, heading northwest, you will find those farms that my uncle mentioned. There have been rumors of some sort of shapes or figures skulking about during the night. If you could ascertain what those things are, we would be most grateful.
We'll check it out. But why don't you make sure to make mention to your uncle that we know how to handle ourselves. That if he has any thoughts of betraying us, well, you've seen what happens. Then Espen collects up the weapons he can and waits for the Nico and Matthias and Luca and Sven to catch up to us before continuing on. Killian, that wound, are you going to be okay?
I'll be fine.
All right. Espen produces another frilly handkerchief, of which he seems to have several, and passes it to you to clean your nose. You can keep it. It's yours now.
Thank you, friend. Thank you. Do you want to carry both these swords with you?
Useless having two swords. One sword's all I need. In fact, this sword seems kind of lousy. I'd rather have my own. But unfortunately, that's back at Compton with Mr. Uncle, the Squire Kent.
The nephew drives the wagon back towards Compton, and now it is nightfall.
Let's press on a little bit. Maybe we can get to one of these farms before it's too dark to travel any further.
I agree. Let's hustle. Okay. We don't want to be out here as many strange things if we are seen at night.
The first farm we see, we'll stop. Check it out.
As you make your way, with the light of the torch guiding you, you notice that there is a particular clearing. It looks quite beautiful. It is a sort of glade, it almost seems like a grove. There are no trees, but there are some stones around it, and there is this lake at the center. You can see the farms at the distance, but this place is also different from the others.
This doesn't seem so bad. Let's head in.
Yeah, let's wash up.
Yeah, you can clean that nose of yours. Looks kind of gross. Good thing you don't have my mirror. Only I have to suffer through that face. Hey, don't worry. I'm sure these farm girls won't mind at all.
Oh, no.
So we head down to the meadow with the pond.
Suddenly you see the most strange thing. The pond was empty for a moment, but then 2 miniature dragons formed out of water start to either fight or mate with one another. And suddenly this tiny looking mermaid appears from the water. She leans her elbows upon the shore and she smiles at you. She would be beautiful, but her eyes are completely black and she has two small brilliant dots on each of her eyes, and she's just staring at you, smiling.
Espen will smile right back. Well, hello, a water nymph, a creature of legend, legendary beauty. He bows low to the water nymph.
Be cautious, Esmond. Be cautious.
She's gorgeous, so exotic. I'm smitten.
She smiles without producing a sound, and suddenly her head splits in two. And then you know nothing. There is absolute darkness. And then everyone in the group has visions of you, each one of you, killing the other. You start to hack each other to pieces. There's blood everywhere and bones. And there is this strange liquid floating in the air, like bubbles of water floating. And suddenly the vision stops, and you are before the pond, and there is nothing, as if nothing had ever happened.
Espen puts his hands on his knees and starts vomiting. He's physically ill.
Esmond, are you all right?
I saw
What?
horrible things, Killian. Violence against people that I would never commit violence against. Oh, it's horrible. It's sickening.
So you're
Clear
getting
out the
visions as
bile
well.
in my- Blech. You saw the same?
Yes, indeed. Turn it against you, brother.
There's
I don't
something wrong with
understand.
this pond. There's something very wrong with this pond.
Yes,
We better move on.
let's stay away. I'm just going to look around cautiously, making sure that we're actually alone now.
Suddenly, Killian senses that this current event, this phenomena, was actually perhaps helpful. There is a playfulness to the energy. It doesn't seem as if there was malicious intent behind this. It almost looks like a warning of sorts.
Wait, you've stopped. I thought we were leaving this place. What is it?
These visions, I sense that perhaps maybe that is telling us of things that could come. Perhaps it's just a warning. Everyone seems out of their mind around here. We should be very cautious about what influences us.
That liquid that was swirling around?
Yes.
The liquid that we saw driving us mad to murder one another?
Do you still have that vial?
The bottle. Yeah. Matthias, come here. The bottle we found. Yeah, Nico found it underneath the bed. That one.
Yeah, fill it up, Nico. Just while we're here. I'm going to lean down to the pond and wash off my face and all the blood from the cracked nose.
The water is clean, fresh. It's quite refreshing.
Take a handful.
Yeah. I got to wash the vomit out of my mouth. I'll do the same thing. Nico, let's fill that water bottle. What happened?
You hear a crack behind you, like someone stepping on a twig.
Oh, we spin. Who's there?
You see a small girl carrying firewood. And she's looking at you, a bit dumbfounded. And she's not saying anything. She's just staring at you.
You, young girl.
Who,
Do
me?
you live here?
I live in one of the farms to the south.
Come closer so we can see you. We won't harm you.
Yeah. Don't worry. We're honorable men. I'll make sure that my new longsword, bloodied longsword, is on my belt somewhere. Hands open, wiping the last of bile from my lips.
But sirs, I need to deliver this firewood.
To where? To one of the farms just beyond here?
I need to sell it back at Compton.
You're selling firewood back to Compton, back at Compton?
Yes, sir.
How much are you selling the firewood for?
She looks at the firewood. This would be 6 florins, sir.
6 florins for those twigs? Are you kidding me? Come on. We may be new here, but we weren't born yesterday. What's the actual price?
She looks at you as if she has been cut.
Oh,
Well, all right. Two florins would be enough, sir.
I tell you what. We'll pay you the 2 florins, and then you're going to take us to your farm.
To the south, but why, sir?
Well, because we're looking for something in these farms. There's something afoot. There's something strange going on here.
Oh yes, but you mean the farms to the northwest? My home is far to the south, sir.
Well, then why would you be here?
Because the wood where I live is not very good, sir. It's rotten.
Ah,
It's very dangerous for you.
you're
Don't
here
you
by
know
yourself
that?
at night, Gary, gathering firewood.
I'm a fast runner, sir.
I don't know about this. Esben
Here.
put his hand under his chin. Your story doesn't make sense to me, girl.
I am telling the truth, sir.
Let us take the firewood from you. Here, young one, take the florins and go. Run as fast as you can back home with your money.
Killian, you're probably right. All right, well, off you go then, little one.
Thank you, sir. She smiles and, oh, by the way, if you heard stories about something moving, I think they are orcs, sir.
Orcs. Have you
Yes,
seen
in
them?
this farm. But they are not like normal orcs. Their green skin looks darker, and they are hunched. And I don't think they are evil, sir.
No?
They didn't attack me. They just looked at me and without a care in the world, they kept on going into the farms.
Which direction did these orcs? When did you see them last? Where were they?
Right over there, just a while ago, perhaps 30 minutes. Over there, sir. She points towards a building that is perhaps 70 feet away from your location. You can barely see like the outline.
Thank you for the information. You've been so much help. The
Yes,
people
yes.
of
Lots of help.
Jarlsberg
Lots of help.
appreciate you.
Okay, quick, let's go.
You approach the farm areas, you can see the ruins of various farms, various buildings, and you reach what was at one time perhaps a silo or a storage of sorts. To store grain, perhaps. It is difficult to tell, perhaps tools, but you see 3 shapes coming out of that barn, that sort of barn or silo or storage. The place has been completely wrecked. Some of it has been burned. These 3 shapes are 3 orcs. 2 of them are hunched. The third one is not so hunched, but they all have that dark green tone to them. The one in the middle looks at you and says, "Halt! Who are you?"
We're just traveling through. No one needs to get excited here. We've all had enough excitement in our day so far. You're orcs. We didn't expect to see you here, but rather farmers. You haven't harmed these farmers, have you?
Now that you look at him up close, he seems to be a half orc. And he answers, No, we're just gathering supplies. Nobody's using this place anyway.
Supplies? For what?
We come from the Roughskin tribe.
I salute him back with my well met. We're traveling through, but wanted to investigate some strange happenings in these farms, these abandoned farms. You've been here for a while, representing your clan.
The orc looks at the other two orcs. The half orc looks at them. He starts to mention some things in Orcish. And he answers, "Those were probably us. We are the only ones in the area. We made sure of that."
You made sure of that. What happened to the people that used to live in these farms?
They were probably killed by the scourged hand orcs.
Not you?
No, they are a vicious clan. We are constantly at war with them.
Are they still in the area?
Not alive.
You've killed them.
Yes, and sadly we lost two of our own.
Quite unfortunate, friends.
Condolences. Not that I don't believe you, but those that you killed, where did you leave their bodies?
You will find them a couple of buildings to the east. It was like a small shack.
By way of friendly warning, the humans, those that live just south of here in Compton, they're aware that there are dark figures roaming around these abandoned farms at night. I will take you at your word, sir, that you are in fact not hostile, but you may want to consider cautiously leaving the area before other more violent men come looking for you.
I cannot be, and we were thinking of going south looking for work. That place, Campton. Yes, that place, Campton. Well, you don't seem to be too bad for a human. My name is Hill, and these are my men, Urk and Grash.
What kind of work are you looking for, Hilt?
Killing stuff, fixing stuff, whatever is needed.
Killian, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Very much. How
I
would you
think
like
these
to?
may be an improvement over the recently passed Sloan. You willing to take orders from an employer?
First, we need to talk with our leader, Wethmank. He lives far up in the hills to the north.
Well, there's lots of fixing that needs to be happening. It needs to happen in Compton. Perhaps you should go and talk to your leader, and we can talk further about this. Where can we find you?
We were planning on using these farms as base camp. We can meet here in 3 days.
We'll try our best to be back in 3 days. We have other business to attend to, but if we can, we'll be back, and perhaps we can find something that'll be mutually beneficial for your people and ours.
Either way, we were planning to set up permanent camp here, so we will be hunting and passing time if you ever manage to make it back here.
We will. We will.
Well met,
You notice
sir.
that now it is quite late. Perhaps the time has gone by, perhaps 10 p.m.
It's time to camp.
Should we see what they've left us in these ruined farms?
Well, Killian, I'm reticent to call them liars, but we should at least confirm their story. It should be easy enough. There's a building just over there that they said that they had left the bodies of these vicious murdering orcs. We should at least confirm that there's orc bodies there. That'll confirm that what our newly met friend is saying is actually true. Then we can rest for the evening.
That's a good point. We can find out if they're trustworthy or not.
It's just a matter of looking into that building. If there's bodies there, then I would propose that he was likely telling the truth.
Agreed.
Either that or he was scared that the six of us would overwhelm them quickly. But let's check it out.
You make your way into that structure. The orcs are already distracted talking among themselves. Indeed, there are 8 orc corpses, completely stripped of everything.
Well, there's our answer.
But you notice something else. There are many tracks here.
Lots of tracks. I have 3 companions. Must have many more friends here.
Or it could be those savage orcs coming back and fro as well. I'm not sure if this is the best place to rest after all.
You know what? You may be right. Where else are we going to sleep? Back at the pond? The horrific water nymph mermaid thing that made me want to kill you? Seems risky.
It does seem closer to our destination, though.
Ooh, true. Let's move on. I have a tent. Matthias is carrying it. We'll just push on another half hour or so, put some distance between us and them, and then we can set up our camp. It'll be late, but as long as this drizzle doesn't get worse, we might still be able to make a small fire.
Sounds good.
Off we go.
The moment you go back to the pond area, the drizzle stops. It's almost as if someone had heard you from that long distance. Killian senses for a moment that there is a subtle presence that was playfully accompanying you. You spend the night quite peacefully. You spend 1 ration each, and Killian heals 1 life point and recovers 1 point of psionic power. Now it is a new day, and this concludes this part of the session of the campaign. We are now out of character. So that was pretty good. I was actually a bit worried at first because I don't know if it was something related to the settings, but Josh, when you leaned in to talk in the microphone, suddenly your sound started to cut off a bit, just a moment, but then things got fine, and I was like, yes, who knows what it was. But okay. I think you guys did great. So let me know your thoughts. Crispy, what can you tell us about today's session?
Well, it's always hard, and I've always struggled as someone running games when it's a kind of an investigation, because I sometimes worry, am I chasing a red herring? Is this going one direction? Are we spending too much time on this? It's interesting from the player, because I haven't been a player for a long time. It's interesting from the player's perspective to see, the details that are given, which details are important here. I enjoyed trying to play the character of Espen, trying to charm those, and then also having a darker, violent side, like willing to kill an unconscious enemy. And I thought that was interesting. I also would remark that one of the things that can be a bit challenging in a sandbox campaign like this is that there's so many things we could do. It was funny because we went from one tavern to another tavern and so we thought, boy, we're kind of covering all our bases. But that's I had a good time. It was fun. It was good. I was a little disappointed I couldn't kill Sloan myself, but I thought that was fun. That was the way that played out.
What about you, Josh? What can you tell us of today?
I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to get into Killian's head, and I enjoy with um, Crispy playing Esben the fact that he is kind of the smooth talker and the golden smile, and I'm really trying to lean into that and kind of be more of the reserved observer. The only concern now moving forward into the next session is I'm not sure how well we did as far as representing Jarlsberg after the murder. I started to
Yeah,
think it's like, oh, now you are the guys that did that. Oh, you're going to be
yeah,
put. But
yeah.
we, there's still hope.
We'll deal with it.
Yeah, we'll deal
I
with
mean,
the
Josh, my
consequences.
thing is that you'll have to let me know or give me a signal or something, because I find I get a little more verbose than I need to be. So, like, don't hesitate to cut me off. Like, you could, Killian can always come in and say, Espen, no, wait, because I don't want to talk over you and kind of dominate. I felt a few times during our sessions today, Abraham, that I'm like, oh man, I'm talking again, and I hear myself. I'm like, oh man, again with me talking. But that's something I can be aware of. So I don't want to run roughshod over you, Josh, as I'm doing.
No, not at all. I think that it's actually a good dynamic between myself and you in general with the role play. I've really enjoyed it so far. So, and of course, Abraham, I'm just floored as far as you keep me right there, and that's the fun thing about it is, I mean, I'm in the moment. Every word, they're gravitating to. So, I've really
Yeah, great
enjoyed it.
job, Abraham. Always impressed with your skills describing things. It's good. Yeah.
Thanks. My exterior is the complete opposite of what is going on inside, because I'm like, they did that. Okay, so, oh no, the activity that what's going to happen now? Yeah, so,
Yeah.
yes. No, I think you two did great, and I think the characterization is also excellent. And the Esben reminds me a bit of Kujol from the Dying Earth. He's also, I don't know if you have read that book. He's somewhat of a charmer, but he's going to do business when you need to do business. And in the case of Killian as well, I think that somewhat silent type is perfect for that contrast that you have Esben like charming and talking, and Killian just like speaking when needed, like so it's a nice like back and forth. Yes. Well, let's conclude this session for today. For those of you watching at home, thank you once again for joining us. We're going to be playing from the Monday after this one. So in 2 weeks, we're going to be continuing this campaign. Thank you once again for watching us. If you wish to support the channel, the information will be in the description. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. And we are going to stop recording right now.